Sack Life, beat depression, stay 643, and we're back in the place to be with another somatic healing session to wipe out depression. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Now, anyone who's tuning in later, as you know, we start every single show with that powerful mental health tool of gratitude. And my gratitude going out first and foremost to everybody tuning in, everybody supporting the cause, and showing up both for yourselves and for others. I know it's not easy to be consistent, especially as life is sometimes chaotic and hands us challenges at different times, all the time, right? Every day is going to present its own challenges, so every day we train to meet and overcome those challenges. And being here takes a lot sometimes. If you follow the story, you know I just woke up like 10 minutes ago. Got a crazy adjustment in my schedule out here. Currently, adjusting to many, many challenges. We won't get into those all together today, but what I'm grateful for is the fact that we have the support system. We're here for each other, we're showing up for ourselves, moving forwards, and we're supporting each other as well, helping that bigger cause, right? It's about our environment, it's about the people we can help with our own self-care routine. So, that being said, that's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the self-care routine. I'm grateful for you guys and girls for showing up and being a part of it. I'm also grateful today that it stopped raining, because it's been raining, I don't know how long, but everything is soaked. But it's cleared up, and I think it's going to stay clear. It looks like nice blue skies. So we'll see if we can get through this training session in nature's allotted window. And I apologize if I have toothpaste in my beard for my morning routine. Shout out to everyone who is here, by the way, in my gratitude section. Mad with Hats, Luca, and When Roses Blossom. Thank you so much. Rennie Lane, thanks for being here. Lupine Ken, Vale, Carol Paradox, that's my mom. Appreciate you, Mom. Love you. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you everybody for the support. Appreciate you guys and girls out there. So that's my gratitude section. Go ahead and think about your gratitude section. That'll help put you in that positive mindset, and it's a good idea to start your day with that gratitude tool. I just did. It's already off to a better start, and the more things you list on that list, the more powerful it can become, and the more efficient it will be at helping you find those silver linings in life and focus on the positive things. Even if you can't find them, the act of asking yourself the question, what I'm grateful for, has a way to rewire, retune the brain, rebalance that hormonal state. And Ken said 251 days. We'll get to that in a second. Lucas said, can we buy a t-shirt? Absolutely, buddy. Just check them out on the shop on sacklifeofficial.com. All of our merch raises awareness that boxing training beats depression. And 10% of all sales automatically donate to NAMI. So as you guys know, we donate 10% of all profits, all donations, everything that comes in to NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, to fund that fight for better mental health. They're doing a lot of amazing work, empowering people out here and pushing forwards on every mental health avenue. They're raising awareness, they're doing public campaigning and building programs, and they do a lot of good out here. So check them out at NAMI Communicate. NAMI.org, I think is their site, but you'll find them at NAMI Communicate on Instagram as well. Pretty cool place. And you can donate directly to them if you don't like me or anything I'm doing, and you just want to support mental health work out here. NAMI's a really good place to start. Someone said, oh, Lucas said, what's that noise? Someone's doing some work, buddy. We're out here in the wild backyard of Kearney, New Jersey. So the sack yard, I'm sorry, mispronounced it. And the neighborhood's alive with pleasure. So they're doing work too, putting in work out here, making progress. And now it's our turn. So think about that thing you're grateful for, and then we'll get into that list. Well, Ken said he's on 251 days. Congrats, Ken. Lisa the Luminary's in here as well. I know she's up there in the 300s. And me, Sackman, I'm out here with 643 days of consecutive progress and training, consecutive success. And this list tool is really important. Keeping track of the number of days you show up for yourself reinforces the truth that you are strong enough to get up and fight forwards for yourself, even in the face of anything that's trying to stop you. Lucas said his day is 8. Good stuff, buddy. That's over a week. Well done. And if you made a consistent daily goal, that's something to be proud of. Even if you haven't made it consistent, even if you miss days, you never lose progress when it's a mental health goal. So make sure you're keeping track of that number. Watch that thing get bigger, and you'll be able to watch your proof of endurance, your proof of strength, your proof of resiliency, your proof of perseverance grow right in front of your eyes. So when you wake up, if you are in a bad mood or a blue period, you can look at that number and know what you're capable of and what you have to look forward to. Another 643 days of progress and success. I'm excited. I'm excited about what we're going to do today and what we'll do in the next 643 days because I got a lot of plans. No stopping me now. That's the sound of rare Ted-tailed construction worker. Thanks, Lisa, for the commentary. Appreciate that. And Lucas said he writes it on a paper. That's a great idea. Write it on a paper, put it on a dry erase board, a calendar, anything like that. Anywhere you can keep track of your progress is a great idea to do so. And again, having a physical reminder. It's like a catalyst. It's like a totem bracketed here in the real world when those negative false thoughts come in. We can look at that real proof of what we can do, what we are capable of. So please do keep track of that. And Ken said, congrats to you too, brother. Appreciate you sharing that number with the world because that helps them know it's not just me out here staying consistent. It's possible for all of us to do this. It's possible for all of us to keep track of that progress of our daily accomplishable goal so that we can prove to ourselves how much we can do. So thank you for sharing your progress as well. 258 was it, Ken? 251 days. You're getting there, man. Crushing it every day. Good stuff. So we talked about the list tool. We talked about the gratitude tool. Now we're going to get into today's lesson. We're going to talk about another mental health tool, the visualization tool. You want to make sure when you're squaring up in your stance, you're visualizing a physical character in front of you, a dummy, a depression dummy. And we want to assign that dummy the thing we want to work on. That way we can consciously acknowledge what it is we're subconsciously doing every day, which is knocking out depression, knocking out those lies. So visualize that dummy in front of yourself and assign it that word depression or anxiety if you're either one that you're dealing with. And that way we can consciously acknowledge what we're doing when we work for ourselves and push forward and make that progress, even in the face of those lies. We're knocking them out. So visualize that dummy, square up with it in your Muay Thai stance, and today we're going to talk about elbows. We're going to extend that elbow lesson because I just can't get enough of these Muay Thai elbows out here. I was doing some heavy bag training the other day in the rain or shine, making progress, leaving depression behind, and it's pretty badly bruised my elbows. I don't think you can see it on the camera, but a lot of bruises from the heavy bag, heavy work. So now I want to do some more technical work with those elbows so we can make more improvement. And there's plenty of work to do. There's so much room in martial arts for growth and progress. It's pretty amazing. We can train our whole lives, make progress, be successful your whole life, become a master at your craft, and still have a whole world of knowledge to learn from others that we meet in the martial arts field, even within the same category. Does depression mean sad? Depression means imbalance in the brain of your serotonin level, and it's a lot more than just sad, but sad is a big part of it. So this is something that we can do to take control of those emotions, take control of those feelings, and release those things that are bringing us down, and actually rebalance those chemicals in the brain. For me, it helped me come out of therapy with a green light from my doctor, and off of medication as well with a green light from my psychiatrist. So it can't be understated how powerful movement, exercise, and these other mental health tools are. And it's very important for each of us to find the ones that work for us. JRX4 Love, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Matter with Hats said the sun's extra bright for 6 p.m. Yeah, right? It's not too bad out here in Jersey. So let's get back into those elbow strikes. And I'm not going to do high intensity because, one, I'm still waking up here. But I do want to refine my form. I want to refine my technique. So we're going to talk about the technical aspect of the elbows a little bit. And we're going to work on some clinch-styled elbows. So we're going to work on refining and improving that elbow strike. So in your Muay Thai stance, go ahead and visualize that depression dummy. We're going to step in to engage the clinch. That means we're going to send one hand around the back of the neck, the back of the head, kind of anchoring it down, pulling it down towards us. And what we're going to do with the second elbow is we're going to rotate up that center line, twisting through the hip, twisting on the ball of that back foot, and driving that elbow straight up into the chin. Now, when we do this, when we're going for the chin, we're going for concussive force, we're going for power. We want to knock out elbow strike there. And there's a couple different ways that you can use those elbows depending on your goal. So when you're aiming for the chin, we want to hit that chin with power. And the way we're going to generate that power is through the hip, through that rotation, through that body movement. And very little of it is actually going to come from arm strength or shoulder strength. Really, all the power should be built up by the time it gets to your shoulder through the body. So we want to practice that, stepping into the clinch and explode through the hip. Bend a little bit on the knees so you have that explosive power there. And drive through the hip, drive through the body. By the time that power gets up here to your shoulder, it's all there waiting. Not a lot of effort should come out of the arm. It should almost be effortless with that arm movement. So we're going to step in for the clinch, visualize that target, explode through the hip, and drive that elbow straight up into the chin, going for concussive force to knock that sucker out, knock that depression dummy right out of our day. So that's that rising clinch elbow. We'll do the same thing from southpaw stance, driving that elbow up, twisting through the hip and shoulders, exploding through that hip, right, up through the elbow. We're combing the hair back, boom, for that strike. We're twisting that body in through the hips and shoulders, working from both sides to balance out that training. And then we're going to talk about an overhand elbow in the clinch. So let's say you're going in for the clinch and you can't get it, right? You can't get that second hand in to grab and anchor the head. We're going to go over the guard. We're going to drop that guard down with that trail hand, and we're going to twist through and try and very quickly drive through that face over the top. And our goal here, instead of concussive force, is going to be to open up the skin on the face of that depression dummy. And I know we're doing this for mental health, so our goal here is to exercise the movement, but we do want to use these pressure testable skills that we can use in other circumstances, like when we're in the ring in competition, if you're competing, or if you're out on the street and you get into some trouble. You might want to know how to technically use those elbows more efficiently based on your goals. So concussive force to the chin, explosive power through the hip, and then speed is going to be a big factor. And letting that elbow kind of rip through, slide over that forehead. The forehead right over the brow line will open them up, bloody the eyes, blur their vision, if that's the sort of thing you're into. If you're on the bag, heavy bag's not ideal for that sort of situation. A double-ended bag is what I'd recommend, because that way you'll take a lot less damage to your own elbows. It won't turn into a forearm smash, and you can practice your techniques. So we're going to have that rising elbow to the chin, exploding through the hip. We want to keep those knees bent. We'll practice it from southpaw as well. Clinch, drive that elbow up, rotating through. Want to feel that whip in the elbow strike. Boom, as you drive it up that center line, boom, into the chin. And then we want to drive it through the face and kind of drag that sharp, pointy part of the elbow. That's our target here, not the forearm. We don't want to turn it into a forearm smash. We want that sharp, pointy part of the elbow to drag through across the forehead to open it up. So those are our two technical elbows, one concussive to the chin, one to open up overhand, dropping the guard and slicing that brow line up. We're going to drill them in succession, along with some basics, jab and cross, to keep that cardio up, get that high intensity release, and hopefully refine our practice. Remember, there's unlimited room for improvement, and that's what we're going to do every day. We're going to improve, we're going to move forwards in the face of anything that's telling us otherwise. That being said, make sure you got water, which I don't have. I'm going to have to grab water. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I apologize. I did not have water, but it's very critical. Make sure you're drinking water and staying hydrated out there. And we're going to get this thing going. Standard rounds. 3 rounds each, 3 minutes each, 1 minute breaks in between to catch your breath. Drink some water. As I said, we'll get that intensity up with the cardio and the jab cross you guys are used to. And then we'll get into those technical elbows as well, refining that form. Let's do this thing. Check. Timer, set, and we'll do it all to the fighting spirit of the 80s. If this boombox is working. There it is. Fighting spirit of the 80s, available through our beats out there on Spotify. Check them out. sacklifeofficial.com. All beats raise awareness and empower us with that fighting spirit for training. We also have music for mental health up there in the form of binaural beats. Check it out, see what you think. And let's get this thing going. Visualize that target. Square up with that dummy. Pop into your Muay Thai stance and start shifting that weight from the front foot to the back foot. You can roll those fists to carry the rhythm. And we're going to step in for the jab cross. Let's do it. Step in for the jab. Rotate through for the cross. Back to stance. Step in for that jab. Rotate for the cross. And back to stance. Keep it nice and balanced. Tuck that chin. Keep that body nice and centered. Torso nice and centered. Weight centered. Feet evenly spaced apart and semi-angled forward. You want to always square up those hips and shoulders with that depression dummy, with that target. Let's step in for the jab cross. Rotate through and drive those fists down the center line. Jab cross. And back to stance. Jab cross. And back to stance. And back. Rotate through it. Turn those fists over and rotating through the body for that power. If you want to improve speed, by the way, in your punches, think about the retracting motion. Think about keeping the core engaged and pulling that hand back just as quickly, if not quicker, than it went out there. 1, 2, hit him with the jab cross. And back. And back. And back. And back. Exhale. Out the mouth for those strikes. And back to stance. Square it up. And back in. We're going to step in for the clinch now. We're stepping forwards and reaching around the neck of that depression dummy. Instead of anchoring with the second hand, we're going to go right for that uppercut smash to the chin. So explode through that hip, wind through the hip, and drive that hand up effortlessly. Drive it up, combing the hair back on that side, on that striking side. Step in for the clinch hand. We're pulling the target close, and we're going to explode through the hip. Drive that elbow up, right through the face of that depression dummy, knocking him unconscious, and back to stand. Work that 1, 2, let's go. Down the center line, 1, 2. Squeeze those fists at the point of impact. 1, 2, 1, 2. Guard high. Ooh, keep going, 1, 2. Drive those fists forward. Twist through that body, and let's step into the clinch. In with the clinch on the front hand. Explode through that hip, turning the hip and shoulders together, rotating on the rear foot, and swinging that arm up the center line. With speed, with power, drive that elbow in, right up that center line, right in between the guard, and into the chin of that depression dummy. Follow through, blast through, using that body weight behind it. Let's go, step in for the 1, 2, back to stand, step in for the clinch, explode from the hip, and drive that elbow up. Boom, you can sink on the knees here. It makes it easy to rotate. Back into it. Back in. Back in. Back in. Keep going. And that's the end of round 1. Catch your breath, drink some water. Check in on you. We're going to start working from southpaw. In round 2, same thing. Jab cross combos. Stepping in for clinch, this time with the opposite hands. And exploding through those hips and shoulders. I can already tell I'm way more uncoordinated on my southpaw side. Not doing enough training there yet. I want to balance that out. And that's why this is my daily dose as well of progress and success. Works for everybody and we all get to grow together. Tanea, thanks for joining. Mel the Blind Fury, thank you for joining as well. Can I do this on my bully? No. And maybe. It depends. It really depends, Luca. I know it's confusing, but it's very situational. In self-defense, you can do what you have to do to protect yourself, but you never want to attack someone else. Our last resort is violence. The last thing we want to turn to. If at all possible, we want to avoid the situation altogether. All right, we'll get more on that later, Luca. Let's get back into stance. Square up with that depression dummy. Go ahead and square the hips, square the shoulders. Guard high. Close those fists, tuck the thumbs. We're in southpaw position now. Dominant hands in the front. We're going to step in for the jab cross. Stepping and twisting through the shoulders. Extending that fist forward. And then twisting through the shoulders again. Rotating the ball of the back foot. Boom. Bring that guard back for the jab cross. And think about, if you want to improve speed, think about returning those fists just as fast as they went out. Chin tuck to Muay Thai stance. Back to stance. Rotate through. Keep that core engaged. And back into it. Let's go. Step forward. Jab cross. Turn those fists over. Clinch at the point of impact. Back to stance. You can work that horizontal movement If you're used to it, keep that flow going by rolling the fists as you shift that weight forwards and backwards. Work that 1, 2. Back into it. Back in. Back in. Back in. Back in. Keep that guard high and drill those fists into that depression dummy's face. Back in. Back in. Back in. All right, we're going to work on that clinch. Stepping into the clinch with the front hand. We're going to explode through the hip and rotate through the hip and shoulders together. Boom. Twist and speeding that body up. Doing all the work with the body and the rotation. Making it effortless for that elbow to come up and smash through the chin of that depression dummy. Back to stance. Let's square up with them. Step in for the clinch on the front hand and then explode from the hip. Drive that elbow straight up that center line. Back to stance. Explode through the hip. Rotate on the ball of that foot. And drive. Drive it through the body. And make that elbow right up the center line. Right in between that guard. Knocking that dummy out with concussive force. Step in for the 1, 2. From southpaw, 1, 2. Back to stance. Back to stance. Back. 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 And step in for the clinch. Rotate through for that strike. Back in. Back in. Back in. Where's the power coming from? The body, not the arms. Explode. Push through. Drive that hip and shoulder together. Rotate it on that back foot. And let the shoulder, the elbow just carry up that center line. Let's go. Drill them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back to stance. Hit them with the jab cross. Back to stance. Let's go. Back in. Back to stance. Clinch. Drive that elbow. Back. 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 And that's the end of round 2. Catch your breath. Drink some water. Check in on you. Mel the Blind Fury said roundhouse time. Nope. We're doing elbow strikes today. We're doing some concussive knockout elbows to the chin. And we're just about to get into some sweeping, sharp elbows across the brow line to open up that depression dummy's face. Thank you for hosting and teaching with pride and passion. Heck yeah. I'm here not only doing what I can for us, but I'm also here helping myself. This is my daily self-care. This is my daily survival tool. This is my life support system. So when you guys tune into it and support it, it does also feel like life support from you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of it and for being open with feedback. That's one of the best ways we can break stigma and empower others to move forward in their lives. All right, drink that water. Make sure you're working for you. And you're putting in that work, you're putting in that effort. You deserve what you give out here, so give it 100%. For this next one, we're going back to orthodox position. Square up. Dominant hand is now in the back. That's our power hand. We're going to step in for the jab cross. Back to stance. Chin tuck for balance. Back to stance. Close those fists and squeeze on impact. Back to stance and keep it going. Down that center line. Let's go. Back into it. And we're going to start practicing those technical elbows now. We're going to go in over the top this time and drive that elbow down. We want to make it nice and pointy. So get that wrist in. We talk about bringing the wrist in to the chest. Get that wrist in as close as possible. That's going to make that elbow as pointy and sharp as possible. I want to go for the tip of that elbow. If you're practicing, again, double-ended bag is the way to condition for these in the beginning. Over time, that skin will get tougher. Those nerves will deaden, and you get stronger and stronger. You can switch over to heavy backs. So we're going to talk about rotation. We're going to talk about driving across and letting that elbow just whip, dragging the sharp part across the brow line of that depression dummy. So visualize that target. We're going to step in with the clinch, and then we're going to wind through the shoulders and the body. And we want to speed that elbow up as much as we can and bring it around over the guard. If that guard is up, if that depression dummy's got his defenses up, when we step in, we get the clinch with the first hand, we can use this opposing hand to lower that guard. So go ahead and reach over the top of that guard on that forward hand and drop it down as you rotate through. And then we're going to slide this hand, boom, through, kind of into a pocket. Slide that hand into a pocket on the front of our chest, invisible pocket. Step in for the clinch. Reach over the guard as you wind through the body and drive. Drive that elbow across, opening up that forehead, right over the brow line. That's our target. Visualize it for accuracy. Step in for the clinch. Wind through the body. Remember, the body's where all the power and speed comes from. The hands should be nice and loose, shoulders should be nice and loose, so it can whip and carry that energy. Step in for the clinch and drive that elbow across, just so you can see what it looks like in slow motion. I'm gonna do it for you. Slow it down here. Step in for the clinch. Then we're gonna reach up. We're gonna start winding through the ball of the rear foot, the shoulders and the hips together. And we're gonna drive that elbow down as nice and pointy as we can. Aiming for the top of the head, over the brow line. Pull that skin off. Let's go. Step in for the clinch and drive through and bring it back. Let's go. Step in for the clinch, drive through and bring it back. Nice and loose on the shoulder. Let that power come from the body. Step in for the clinch, drive it through. Whoosh, drive it through. Turn it through the whole body and hips together. Step in, clinch, and open them up. Back to stance, clinch. Open them up, back to stance, clinch. Open them up and back in. That's the end of round 3. Sorry we didn't get to do that one in southpaw, but maybe tomorrow, maybe we'll even expand on those elbows as well. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a week of elbow strikes. There's so much variation. There's so many different skills and different ways to use our tools that we could literally stay on elbows probably for a year and never get them all down, never learn them all. There's so much room. So please do keep making progress at your rate and develop those skills that work for you, that empower you to fight forward in your life, whether it's the mental health tools or it's the physical tools, those somatic healing tools, whether it's that heavy bag, that somatic release mental health tool back there, or just the daily progress tracking. Find the ones that work for you and roll them in to a super effective training routine against depression. Because every day you train forwards, you get stronger as depression gets weaker. Until next time, if you want to shout out, just in case I missed anybody, shout out to Beta Climber, ML the Blind Fury. Appreciate you guys. Mad with Hat says that was work. Fire, fire, fire. I hope it was. I hope you pushed to your level and you put in that work so you can guarantee yourself the rewards. Until next time, I'll catch you same sack time, same sack channel, same sack life. Sack man out.